Braveheart Workshops, inspiring connection. Restore, renew, and reconnect in community. Live well, laugh often, love much. Join our online connection circles. Be empowered in our virtual live events. Be a guest on our podcast shows. Hire us or be hired for speaking engagements. Enhance hope, health, and healing in your lives. Creating global connections. The Connection Show, sponsored by Braveheart Workshops, live with Jill Reynolds. Braveheart Workshops. The Connection Show, inspiring hope, health, and healing in 2021. Sponsored by Braveheart Workshops, live with Jill Reynolds. And joining me right now is Amber Harmon of Branson, Missouri. Welcome to the show, Amber.
Hi, thank you.
Well, we're so grateful that you came on to join us, and I'd love the audience, Amber Harmon, to know a little bit more about you. So I'm going to read your bio.
Okay.
Amber is the owner of Tidy Home Cleaning Services. Her goals in life are to cheer on her husband and children as they pursue God with their whole hearts and to help people by sharing what God has done for her. Amber dreams of starting a podcast and writing a book to inspire people. She believes that no matter what you have been through, that there is joy in everything when you have Jesus by your side. Amber loves to find reasons to celebrate every single day and to help people find joy in their life. Amber started her own business and has served in full-time ministry for 7 years. While in ministry, she led teams, discipled, planned events for kids and youth, and more. Amber also helped to develop a youth unification ministry called City Changers to unite the Big C Church of youth groups. They meet twice a year. She enjoys listening to podcasts on growing her leadership, parenting skills, and studying enneagrams, if I say it right, enneagrams. Amber is on a 7 on the enneagram, and so one of her favorite things in life is to make people laugh and find the silver lining in everything. She also enjoys reading and studying her Bible, grabbing coffee with a friend, meeting with her life group, and just doing anything with her family. She's a huge fan of the family and a wife to Matt and the mom to 4 kind-hearted, not strong-willed, but kind-hearted children.
Maybe a little strong-willed too.
Got to get that dare to discipline and James Dobson in there with the strong-willed child.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Amber. And you've got a lot that you've done at a young age, I'll tell you.
Thank you.
Well, what we love about the Connection Show, Amber, I love the fact that in the Bible, Jesus told story in parables, and along his journey and his path, he utilized parables and stories to connect the masses to him and individuals. So on the Connection Show, we love to connect the dots of story to lead people on that journey to get to know our speakers and our guests a little bit better. So if you're willing to take us on a little journey of little Amber growing up and what life was like for you, and bring us to fruition to where you are today in your journey.
How much time do we have?
Well, we're gonna go short today, and we usually go longer, but why we're gonna go shorter is I need to say Amber's agreed to be a guest speaker at the Hope, Health, and Healing Conference in Branson. So we're not going to reveal a whole bunch of what her story is yet, because you got to come to Branson to hear the rest. So let's give the shortened version, but not the depth.
Okay. All right. So I am from Branson area, grew up here, born and raised here. And I grew up with we're a family of 4. So I had my mom, my dad, and I was the oldest. And then I have a little brother who is 18 months younger than me. little, but he is like way taller than me now. Anyway, it was like my best friend growing up. I do come from a home that was broken a couple of times. My parents actually divorced whenever I was around 6 or 7, remarried, divorced again, remarried again. They actually were married 3 times.
To each other?
To each other.
So they didn't remarry other people. They just kept trying to get it right.
Yes. And so I know what it's like to go through a divorce. But I also was able to see restoration in my parents' marriage as well. But we did not go to church growing up. And my parents could not decide on a church to go to, so they just kind of decided not to go. And they, tried to teach me about God, but I really didn't know him at all whenever I was growing up. And whenever I was junior high age, high school age, I became a troubled teen, made some poor choices, and caused my parents a lot of grief. And my brother, though, whenever he was in 6th grade, he went to church with a friend and he got saved. And he came home to our house, told me about it. And I was like, that's great. But I didn't really understand it. I did notice, however, in high school, he had a much easier road than I did. And finally, fast forward to I graduate high school. My mom and I we had kind of a rocky relationship in high school, especially. And I moved out of the home quickly after graduating, and I lived in Springfield. I chose to go to cosmetology school, and I needed to get a job. So I found a job. And one night I was inspiring. It was a serving job at Applebee's, and it was the first night I was actually allowed to be on the floor by myself. And this young couple came in, and they were so sweet. They sat in my section and talked to me. Come to find out, they knew my brother. They were Young Life leaders. Young Life is the ministry that goes into high schools. And they recognized me actually from the high school, which was so random because we're in Nixa, really. And they invited me to church. So I was 18, went to church with them the next day. Actually called my brother and asked him to go to church with me because I was scared to go by myself. He went with me. I accepted Jesus when I was 18. And that young couple took me under their wing, and they mentored me for a year, and are still huge people in my life. I don't hardly get to see them or talk to them. I don't even know if they understand the impact that they had on my life. But I became a Christian when I was 18, and they challenged me to fall in love with Jesus before I fell in love with the boy. Because at that point, I had fallen in love with like 5 or 6 boys. And so I didn't date for a year, fell in love with Jesus, and then met my husband.
Well, it's kind of funny. In AA, they say to you when you get clean and sober, they tell you not to date for 1 year. And then after 1 year of sobriety, they tell you that you can get a pet or a plant, and as long as either one of them don't die, then you're ready for a relationship. If you don't kill the pet or the plant, then you can start dating.
Well, if I had a plant, it wouldn't have survived. Yeah. I do not have a green thumb. I'm the opposite.
Well, that was the rule of thumb in AA when you were ready to date. So for you were ready to date after 1 year of being in love with Jesus. Then you were given permission. Okay.
I was given permission. But I met my husband, and we dated for a year and a half, and we got married. But things were really rocky. And we thought that getting married, that everything that from our past was going to go away. He had a troubled past too. We brought in all this baggage into this marriage, and then had kid after kid after kid. And they're all really close together, all of our children in age. And so sleep deprivation, bringing in all this baggage, it was pretty rocky.
Well, plus what a lot of people don't understand, but I do, I get it, is every time, and I've only had one child, so I can't imagine four, because I had one and that was enough to rock my soul. But every age of his age brought me back to my childhood at that age, which made me process that age of pain and suffering. So when he became 2, I had to deal with my 2-year-old little girl. When he became 5, I had to be Jill at 5. And so each journey along the way, and trust me, he's 38 now. So when he went through the teen years, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting back what I gave to my parents. This is ridiculous. I'm like, this, and people used to say to me, Amber, isn't it hard to be a single, never married mom? And I said, no, it's really easy. And I was a real easy, compliant, like lost child. But then when I got to be a teen, all my anger from the crap in my childhood came out, and I was ruthless. So when my son became a teenager, oh, I was like, God, you can take him back. I don't want him anymore. So I get it. So if you got 4, I can imagine the transitions you are going through.
Oh yeah, from me and from my husband too.
Oh yeah.
Actually, our oldest, this is a side note, and I know we're not going deep into my story because there's a lot to it. She is actually Matt's daughter, my husband's daughter. So she's my stepdaughter. She was 2 when we got married, but she's called me mommy since she was 2. And she just turned 18. We're really close, and it's been a joy to be a step parent. I've loved it.
So you haven't wanted to run away from home yet?
No.
Really? Okay.
Not yet.
We'll see. What's your youngest?
12.
All right. You might want to run away yet.
Okay, there's been times they know, like they know there's been times whenever I've been pushed for sure. So okay, I take that back. I've wanted to run away from home, but I feel like I found joy in all of the ages, because every age I feel like it has their own challenges, but I've loved every stage. So even this stage, as hard as it is, we have a getting ready to be a 16-year-old on Sunday. I'm trying to teach her how to drive right now, and I'm like, oh goodness, like it's hard. So
what's been harder, girls or boys?
Oh my goodness, I have to say we have 3 girls and 1 boy, and I have to say girls.
I agree. I only had a son,
friends.
But I can honestly tell you, and my brother Rylan. And I had to do what's called tough parenting, where the tough parenting courses I had to go through were where they taught us, and I know this sounds crazy, and a lot of Christians go, what did they teach you? They taught us never to trust your children if their mouths are moving, and that there's no such thing as privacy except in the bathroom. So in other words, they taught us that all's fair game, go into their backpack, read journals, read text,
Absolutely.
All that. And so I found notes in his backpack from girls in junior high that were asking him for sexual favors. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are these girls doing to my son? And I was like, it blew my mind how the girls were. It blew my mind. And he was in a whole different level. And so girls, I've heard girls are much harder.
I feel like with the girls too, my son, I feel like his struggle is that he's got 3 sisters and a mom, so he has too many moms that take care of him.
Yeah.
And so I feel like his struggles, his challenges are coming because the responsibility and like him even getting up for school in the morning. One of my daughters gets him up every morning. I'm like, okay, guys, we've got to stop this. Like, he's got to learn some responsibility.
You know what I found that'll help you? You know what I found? I had to get it for my son when he went to college. There's alarm clocks that have like I don't know if it's a cord that go between your mattresses, and it shakes your mattress to wake you up. And I had to get that because my son never could hear alarms. He'd go into a deep sleep, and he could never hear an alarm, so he needed a
Wow.
he needed a bed to shake him just to wake him up for college.
I've never heard of that. I'm gonna look into it.
Yeah. So Amber, then take us. So then you studied cosmetology, you got married, had amazing kids, and then what led you away from cosmetology into being an entrepreneur and starting your own cleaning business?
Okay, so my family actually come from a family of entrepreneurs. And so it was kind of something that I saw my whole life. And I started, whenever I had the kids, I wanted to stay at home with them. And so I started coming up with businesses then. So I had craft booths. I did a clothing line. I was doing already small businesses whenever they were little so that I could make money and stay at home. Also, had a salon for a little while, and I had a playroom in the salon for my kids. And so that's kind of where that got started. So Matt and I had been married for about 7 years, and I think it was about 6 years actually. And we ended up getting a divorce. And then we were divorced for 1.5 years, and then we remarried, which I said I would never do.
You
because
take
my
after
parents
your
did it.
parents. Well, you're not going to get married 3 times.
No. I prayed that, like, I prayed that generational curse over my kids. Like, that's not going to happen to them. It actually happened with my grandparents too. But anyway, so it's not going to happen.
3 times with your grandparents?
My grandparents married each other twice.
Okay.
And then they divorced, and then they weren't together anymore. But my parents married each other 3 times, and then they were married until my dad passed away about 5 years ago. And then Matt and I remarried, and we've been remarried longer than we were married the first time.
So I'm already offering my services as your mentor, because I've been trained in helping people do what's called burden release work, where you take a burden and you bring it back. It's called legacy burden, and you take the legacy burden back generationally, all the way back, and then you bring in the blessings into the current. Very closely oriented to that the Bible says there'll be 4 generations of sin, and that we need to break it so we don't pass it to our children and then their children. So it's really cool legacy work that you and Matt would love. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's what saved my life, doing legacy work. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. I'd love to hear more about it.
So then you guys divorced, remarried, and then what happened?
So whenever we were divorced, I started a salon, and so I had my own business then. And then whenever we were married, we were so just. Well, it was very difficult, obviously, going through the divorce, and it was difficult with the kids. And whenever we remarried, we were so happy and so thankful that God had restored our family. And we actually, when we were married the first time, I'd always tell my husband, I forgot about this. I told him I would pray every day for our family, and I knew something was wrong. And he'd come home, and I'd be like, this is what God's telling me today. And I remember one time I was like, he came home, and I said, God told me that you're going to be a pastor someday. And he's like, if you wanted to marry a pastor, you should have married someone else. And then I told him, I was like, I'm going to work in a church someday. And he's like, okay. Well, anyway, so when we remarried, we had, we were just so thankful that God had put us back together, and we were really feeling called to ministry. And then a church here in town started, and we became close with the pastors, and then we got on staff with that church, and then we did that for 7 years.
Wow.
And then this past October, we felt like it was time that God was leading us to step down from that. And one of the things that I loved so much about my job was helping people with their goals, and just helping them with their relationship with Jesus too. And I started feeling like a tug in my heart last summer to really start trying to reach out in the community and disciple out in the community. And so I I decided to start this small business, actually partner with my brother. My brother, he is a partner of Tidy Home, and he's in Kansas City. So we have Tidy Home going on in Kansas City, and we have it going on in Branson.
Wow.
And it's a God-based business as well.
So is it a franchise, or is it your brother and you named it the same, and so it's just the two businesses? It's not a franchise.
Yeah, it's not a franchise.
Okay. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So everybody listening that live in the Branson area, it's called Tidy Home Cleaning Services.
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to do, I usually show a bio that lists your link. So I will have that on the YouTube channel. I'll get that and have it connected. This is the picture of Amber showing that she's going to be a guest speaker in August, but I will get your link so that people know how to link in and get a hold of you, so that we can bring you an abundance of business and blessings, because that's what the Connection Show is. We want to connect businesses and leaders and people together in the communities that they live in. And so with that, we are not going to share any more secrets of Amber. And so we really want you to go to braveheartworkshops.com and register now, and come to the King's Castle in Branson, Missouri, at August 20th to the 22nd to hear the deep and darkest secrets of Amber's life, because she's going to go deeper. She just did the surfacey stuff. So,
yeah.
But enough that those listening can connect with the hardships of transitioning in different types of circumstances in family life and marriage and divorce. And life can be tough, can it, Amber? It's okay to say that we're filled with joy, but I've learned as a Christian that if I can have moments of joy, that's worth it. Living in joy every day, for me, I'm just being real, is kind of hard. But if I get moments of joy, wow, that's amazing. Yeah. So with that, we are going to come to a closing. But before we do, I'm going to ask Amber one more question. Amber, what's one fun fact about you?
Oh, goodness.
Because you're a girl filled with joy. There's got to be one fun fact about you.
I think it's that I can find a reason to celebrate and get ice cream every single day.
That's good. Ice cream's your go-to celebration, huh?
Celebration. I'm always coming up with a reason we need to celebrate and have ice cream.
Okay. Well, we'll have to have an ice cream definitely at King's Castle, the concession stand. So.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for joining us, everyone. You have a wonderful night, and we'll see you in Branson in August. Thanks so much, Amber.
Thank you.
Bye now. Thanks for joining us on the Connection Show. Let's connect now. Let's restore, renew, and reconnect in community. Enhance connection in our online connection circles. A place to meet up, gather, and feel welcomed. To join us, go to braveheartworkshops.com. Click on the Books Podcast tab, and then the Connection Circles drop down. On the pop-up, join our Connection Circles Facebook group. Our circles meet from 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Share story, topics, and laughter with men and women. To learn more about Connection Circles, go to braveheartworkshops.com. Thanks for joining us on the Connection Show, and have a great day.